podium? Or I have to go to the podium.
Okay.
Yeah, we should probably look that sign down.
I'll have this out of here quickly.
It's a short person thing. Can't see.
It's easy with that. Let me go first. It's acceptable to the board. Thanks, Scott. Acceptable to the board that.
Did you take over? Politically challenged.
I am politically.
Okay, number one, thank you very much you all for coming tonight. We're going to have just a slight different arrangement. Chuck is going to come up first and make his presentation on the water, and then we'll go back to normal order. But just want to advise people on that little change. Hopefully it's acceptable to everybody. And thank you. I welcome you to tonight's meeting. Thank you very much for coming out in the weather. And may we start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Chuck Golden's our water manager, and he's going to make a presentation, and I'll get out of the way. Thank you. Thank you, Chuck.
You're welcome. Welcome, everybody.
Please, Frank.
This is a presentation of the existing the existing assets we have in the water system. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people that can't do two things at once. Our water system consists of three major components here at the site of the 1512 Spring Avenue. This is our pump station site. It's very well hidden. It's right next to the Lockheed's entrance. It consists of 8 by 16 workshop, a 10 by 16 modular pump house, and a generator set. We're going to go through left to right on this, the workshop. Let's see, there's our workshop. Due to the angle of the picture, it is considerably wider than what it really is, or so it looks. The picture of the workshop interior, it was, oh, did I cut you off? I thought I had it on here. It was constructed by Young Family Construction 4 years ago. This is Rob Young over here, worked for a water department. I should have announced his place. Stand up, Rob. Rob Young, one of our part-time employees. Our other gentleman is taking a bus to Jimmy Peak because he works for the bus garage, so he has a ski club. So he isn't here. But Rob and his daughter built this 4 years ago. Great asset. We can get in there, do maintenance on parts. It is used for storage. They're very nice. The pump house, we can go back to that. The pump house has two sides to it. Your front side where the metal louvers are is your chemical side, and the back side is the pump side. Most all pump houses are like that. You try to keep the chemicals separated from the pumps and electrical, and to the point of where you're injecting your disinfectant into the water line. Here you see two crocks on the left. You see redundancies in water systems, which is very important. So if one fails, the other one can pick up. So these are all crocks where the hypo is put in. And mixed at the proper ratio. These are a positive displacement pump, a metering pump, and they. How many have you rebuilt of those, Rob?
No, ongoing.
Sodium hypochlorite is very corrosive, and it is tough on the equipment. So we have to rebuild a lot of this stuff. But as I say, the redundancies are in there. This tank acts as our source of water on the site, as well as taking up any water hammers on this end of the system. The pumps, which was on the right side. Just getting back to the louvers. I mean, you wonder, what do we have louvers here for? It's the middle of winter. We're in the Northeast. These are sold to companies that also use gaseous chlorine, and they need the vetting for the gaseous chlorine. It wasn't an option where we could buy one without it. The pump station, we have 2 pumps here. The 2.7 horse, 7.5 horsepower, 36 RPM, vertically multi-stage pumps. You'll see one is slightly taller than the other. This is pump 1, here is pump 2. Pump 1 was replaced early in 24, wasn't it, Rob? Yeah, prior to my arrival. And as Rob can attest, and of our other operators, you can tell which one is running when you show up on site. You can actually hear the difference in them, and that's a sign of a good operator that can do that. So other components, as I said, the has non-slack chip valves, the flow meter, and you'll see the other picture of that, as well as the valves and the PLC controller. Here's the PLC controller. This is the flow meter, which is what gives the input to the control here as to what the flow rate is and how the pump should run. I have a picture of one VFD over here. There are 2 VFDs, VFD standing for variable frequency drive, for both of these motors. All of the industry has gone to VFD because it's considerably cheaper. You vary the frequency and not the power. When you elongate the frequency at the same voltage, your pump runs slower. It's more economical. And you don't have the startup, the hard startup and shutdown you do in a capacitive type motor without a VFD. So that's why they've gone to that. The floor, the one thing I wanted to note, you see a gap here. The floor is removable for the accessing interconnections, and that was done when the place was set, as well as some of the wiring was down there too, right, Rob?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and our generator, which Rob starts and tests once a week, so far has been pretty good. We one very cold morning, it didn't particularly want to start, but that has started weekly and a self-test is run on. My displays that I have here on the floor, that's about it for this. But the displays that I have on the floor are what's in the ground. It's tough for a water department because 90% of our stuff is underground. So it's really tough to see the amount of assets you have to maintain. And just what I have here is a piece of 12-inch polyethylene pipe. We are going to have the same pipe in our main. It'll be 8-inch for District 2 to run up to the middle school. And off of your main is what is considered a corporation stop or corporation valve. It's this part right here. That is in use such that they can put the curb line in and or continue on with the main. Continue on with the main with the curb stop in, with the corporation stop in. Someone can come back later and install the curb stop at their leisure. The main has a tap in it. It is considered, when you have to do this in the field, it's considered a wet tap. And there's special tooling to do that because you're drilling into a pressurized main. But when they do it here in the corporation stop, you have the ability to go back later and put in all your curb stops. And as we had over in Abbott Drive, when you have a curb stop fail, that's the only other thing that's going to shut the water off your corporation stop. So you got to dig all the way back to the main. But what I had here, and I can turn this other light on and give you guys a little bit better look, is the curb stop assembly. That curb stop assembly has a down rod on it. The way these things work, you see the bit of the squiggly and the down rod. That squiggly is what keeps that centered in that post. So that when you come in with your curb stop tool, which is this, you initially take your yoke, put it in your cap, and turn it off. And again, I was recounting to these guys, I was at a resident's house and we were trying to get the cap off. I was down here with a pipe wrench. He was turning this and didn't realize that slide hit me right in the back of the head with it. So, but once you have the cap off, and then you have the ability to connect onto your down rod with this too. And that's how you turn them off. These valves are quarter turn. They'll only turn 90 degrees, off, on. That's how they work. Curb stops up on, and I didn't put the dashboard up. We'll do that in a minute, but the dashboard showed 48 damaged curb stops. Damage can be in different manners. Lawnmower cable. And then you have a little more of a push where you're going to have to replace a little more of this pipe. This pipe is this pipe. The whole point is you got to keep this straight to be able to access your down rod, or you can't shut it off. And this one, obviously, this one was hit by an excavator. So the method of repair is dig to the degree where you're past the damage. This, easy to repair. You're digging down maybe a foot, cutting it off, taking a half round file, cleaning the burrs out there. There's nothing worse than putting your tool down there and hitting those burrs from a bad cut. Attach that, put your cap on it. Farther down you get, and this is about the maximum length you can get with a repair coupling, where you have to replace the whole doggone thing. This is variable. You have the ability to move this up and down with grade slightly. You know, you don't have that bit of variability, but all of the 48 curb stops, they're all damaged to some degree like that. Some of them were about right over, hit by plows. So we move on to your home. This is the plumbing inside your house. The meters that we have are down here. Your radio transmitters are up here. You have isolation valves on either end of your system. A regulator valve to regulate your pressure, the check valve to stop backflow, and then my nemesis, the antenna. Right there. Any questions on this? I don't know if you guys saw this ahead of time. Any questions from the board? I'm just going to go back quickly to our dashboard because I'm really happy with this. This is a really good one.
A quick question, is that operation stop and direct burial?
Yes, it is. Yep. Everything up to, well, everything's underground. Your ground level will be here on your curb stop assembly. Everything else is underground. We, in this zone 5, we require 5 foot underground. So. Back to, and we've seen this a little bit, but I really want to show you the dashboard. You guys have seen all this, but we've been working on the dashboard. This gives all of our assets, how many are damaged, what percentage, and where they are. We'll pick one. Broken cap on main CS112. CS standing for curb stop. The map was on the right-hand side. It was so small by the time we got it to where we wanted it, we just didn't bother. So what you would do at this point, barring any other changes in the system and the software, is you would go back to the map, click on the arrow, type in a curb stop you're interested in. And I was going to say it should take you there. It is very, I was going to say, yeah, there we go. I messed up something in typing, obviously. Yeah, there we are. We're in Van Nuys, California. Bet it's a lot warmer there. There we go. There we go. CS112. It shows you where you are and where you are in location There's your broken curb stop. There you are along the fence, house. You can get the address. It's on I got 1 Main Street. I don't think that's correct. Where the heck is that on 1 Main Street? We'll have to work on the address a little bit, but maybe it is there. Let's take a look. We'll see who the owner is. We got the broken cap. And McCurdy's, and he doesn't have that one filled in yet either. All right. Well, the yellow is what is damaged. You can see the yellow highlighting on some of the curb stops and on some of the valves. This one, for example. But we have the ability to get all of the data that I was using, the historical data mostly for the antenna changes. And really, anytime I stopped at someone's site, I reported it. And that is about 1.2 gig now, that database. And we'll be able to mesh that into this with another layer. So everything will be in one location. I expect the new water manager to be able to really utilize this tool. You'll be able to schedule your repairs in a certain location, go on out to that location, know what you need to get in the truck, because it'll be right here as to what you need. And I think it's going to be a great asset. That's all the good news. Bad news is, I don't know how many more trips Adam's going to be able to get back. He thinks about 2 because of funny things. So we'll see. The biggest thing that I need to get done when he is here is I got to get this on DJ's computer. So he is usually the first going to a site under his water issues, and this will be a great asset to be able to find out where he's going, what he's up against, where the isolation valves are, how we can isolate until the water manager gets here. Any questions?
How's the
I really
search going for
appreciate
the
your
water
help.
manager?
Pardon me?
How is the search going for our new water?
So far, I have 1 college student interested, but they have to take the exam. That really makes me feel good, to have a young person that's interested. Last training course I went to, he said, before he started, he said, look around the room. You're a bunch of old guys. He says, 5 years, this room's empty. And he was right. We really need to get younger people involved. And the feedback that I received was that she is, sounds like she's gonna like it. But, you have a green operator in here, you've got to pair them with somebody that has experience.
Calls have gone out to the list. 2 people so far, no go, and others, waiting for a call back from them.
The list of operators was 5 long, I think, 5 or 6.
Eligible, yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah.
2 people.
And, yeah, 2 on there. One was my son, he's in Troy, Troy Water. And then Chris Whalen, who's up in Clifton Park. And he runs their system. I really appreciate the time of allowing me to do this. I will get all this stuff out of the way and we'll carry on the meeting, and I'll try to do this as quietly as possible.
Thank you very, very much, Chuck.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You
Rob,
are
thank you
welcome.
for coming too.
Sure. Shut this down, shut this down. Time. And I'll take my cardboard down so that everybody can see it. I really want to thank Rob for putting this together. I did it in this was my piece. I did it in the typical farmer method, had a couple of steel straps across the top of it, some baling wire, sat it next to what Rob made. It only took him a week to say, I can't stand it any longer, it's gotta be better looking than that. Rob came along and did it a hell of a lot nicer. Glad you like it.
The wheels.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jim.
You are welcome.
Yes, sir.
What a committee meeting.
We reviewed the bills and found them sufficient to be paid.
Do I have motions to accept report of the work committee?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Chuck. And thank you, Frank.
I'll second.
Thank you, David. All those in favor of accepting the order?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you, Sue. Okay, public comment period? Please.
I'd like to reserve some time on 5A.
Can I make a public comment?
Please.
I just wanted to, at the one meeting a while ago, I gave, I was upset with the Poestenkill spotlight, but in retrospect, I look at it, and I think it was somebody's got to get the information out there. And I just wanted to say that in public. And, you know, it's, we don't have anything else right now. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Frank. Anyone else? Please, Lee.
All right, Lee King, official address, Record Farm Road, residence 317 Snake Hill Road. Now, tonight I'm going to ask for your consideration. I'm going to look into an old wound here. I want you to stay tuned because I think we're going to be looking at potentially a good solution coming up here. I had a previous conversation with a supervisor. He requested that I not talk about the ambulance service this evening. And upon reconsideration of this, I have given further consideration that we have a very important meeting coming up. And I feel it's really necessary that I get my address out concerning the subject of the ambulance service, and it needs to be done tonight. Now, last month, we had a representative from the Grafton Ambulance Corps here, and he spoke in many details concerning their number of calls that they had, their mutual assistance with other agencies. Spoke at length about Mohawk's dispatch and that how it has been compromised with respect to the fact that Mohawk has apparently experienced some drawbacks or setbacks, personnel or whatever it is, and the claim was made that 90% of Mohawk ambulances respondents to this area came out of Albany. That was brought into question later. I'll get into that in just a moment. Basically, what the representative from the Grafton Ambulance Corporation was here to lament to us, from what I could discern, was he was making a statement that Grafton has been providing service for Poestenkill, and it's time for Poestenkill to step up to the plate, make a decision on what they're going to be doing about ambulance service. Now, as the discussion proceeded, Councilman Haas had reason to question some of the data and statistics that were being brought forth. And Councilman Haas was, in my opinion, he was correct in making his presumption that most of the residents in this town had, at least previously, been satisfied with the service that they were receiving from Mohawk Ambulance. So I respect the fact that Councilman Haas did question some of what was being brought forth, but in the ensuement of that, there was a controversy that got struck up, and there was some very compassionate responses that came forth. Our library representative, Julianne, came forth with a compelling testimony as to the fact that her father had passed away due to the utter lack of ambulance service. We also had a very compelling testimony that came from our own supervisor, Katie Powers, did a gracious job of coming to the podium and testifying that her daughter's life had been spared. Well, she experienced a brain aneurysm, but fortunately she was at school and the ambulance response was there and her life was saved. These were compelling testimonies, no doubt. But there was quite a big showdown that took place here, and Councilman Haas did take quite a bit of the brunt of that. Now, I'm not going to get into a great deal of defense for him at the very moment, but I'm going to get into something here where I'm going to talk to you about, this is my favorite book right here, this collegiate dictionary right here. I've been using this thing for about 4 decades. And I got to have it. Then whenever I look up a word for its spelling or for its meaning, I just get out a highlighter. And this book is getting kind of colorful. My favorite word of all in here is just about in the middle, and it's paradox. A situation where 2 completely opposing premises have equal validity. And that is certainly what we saw here in last month's meeting. We saw a grand paradox. We saw where Councilman Haas was representing a position that had to do with cold, hard facts, data. We saw a testimony that was really quite impassioned. Now, I find that paradox is a very, very interesting word, because I look at this from the perspective of how is it that 2 completely different premises can have equal validity? What do we do to bring these 2 differing premises together in a common mode of agreement? Now, I'm reasonably familiar with this because in my career, I was hired to be a problem solver. I had to investigate industrial accidents. I had to design and implement solutions to problems. I had to prepare reports, et cetera, et cetera. So I can see where there is a need for problem solving, particularly in this instance. And what I want to bring to light here is a problem solving methodology that is proven. Now, I was a very fortunate person to have had a number of mentors in my very imprintable years, right straight up to until I was an adult. But the most important mentor that I ever received benefit from was the person you hear me speak of, Lee Iacocca, the internationally acclaimed engineer who popularized the phrase that form follows function. So I have taken a form follows function, strictly disciplined look at how to solve this ambulance problem. Now, in form follows function, a problem solver is going to have to be quite disciplined to refrain from jumping to conclusions. He's going to have to take a look at the problem, understand the problem, diagnose it, and arrange a prioritization of the objectives pursuant to solving that problem. I, out of just pure curiosity, have engaged in doing just so. And I want to present to you a few illustrations this evening, which I hope are going to give us something to focus on, which may provide a key towards how we're going to solve the ambulance problem. What is your question?
Lee, I'm sorry. Lee, should some of this wait till after this meeting next week so we know more?
No. And the reason why is because we need to inspire the people of this community to get on board with what is going to happen on February 20th at the firehouse, when I I presume that you have done what you said you were going to do at the conclusion of this session last week, when you said you were going to get in touch with Rensselaer County.
They are having this session. We're not running it. It's put out by the county.
You, apparently you or someone in your capacity has arranged for the director of Rensselaer County Emergency Services to be at the firehouse this 1 week from now, February 20th, yes?
No. The only reason why Poestenkill Firehouse is being utilized is because the firehouse is centrally located in the county. This is a informational session being presented by Dr. Hayachi, the medical director, regarding the status of the EMS in all of Rensselaer County. He has, this is after a year's worth of gathering data, and has come up with 20 different plan ideas encompassing every township in Rensselaer County regarding costs, things of this nature, and a few different plans, both being municipal-based, county-based, and non-for-profit based. So this is what's going to be presented, is the results of these exhaustive research effort and gathering all this data from across the county, and then putting together some ideas to put forth to the townships, joint services, things of this nature, in a way that isn't just one plan. It's roughly about 20 different plans out there. So this is what's being presented. The reason why our Poestenkill is being utilized is because we had the facility do it. It was held about a year ago last year at the firehouse, and we are centrally located in the county, so people can, from all over the county, have a fair distance.
That is exactly on point with what I want to present this evening, and it has to do with clearly the identification that Poestenkill happens to be in a very central, dispatchable placement within this county, and it is an ideal position to be a host community to invite that a Rensselaer County rural emergency services consider basing a facility here, particularly because what we have to offer such a service here in Poestenkill is a corridor of state roads, primarily 351 and the connecting roads at each end. We have an ideal opportunity to encourage hosting Rensselaer County rural emergency services here in Poestenkill. Yes.
Lee, can I ask once more that we wait to see what is presented next week? Okay. Before we go any further.
Yes, you can ask that. And the reason why I'm giving this presentation this evening is because I want to inspire as many of the people who are in attendance here this evening, and as many of the people who are watching remotely, to please be at that meeting. That meeting is going to be important. That meeting may be the genesis upon which we find a solution to this crucial problem.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else care for the public comment period? Okay, we now go to approval of the town clerk, January 9, 2025 town board meeting minutes, and the 2024 revenue and disbursements report. Has everyone had a chance to review the town board minutes?
Can I make a motion that we accept it?
Thank you very much, David. A second. All those in favor of accepting the January 9, 2025 town board meeting minutes and the 2024 revenues and disbursements report? Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Any correspondence received? Liaison reports. Planning board. Thank you, Stephen.
Very exciting meeting. approve a lot line adjustment on Chain Mountain Way for a future septic system. And that is all.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Zoning board? Donna, thank you very
Donna
much.
Camper, zoning board, we did not have a meeting last month, therefore I have nothing to report.
That was brilliant.
Say the same thing.
I just had to show my slide.
Fire company. Thank you, Dan.
Good evening. Month of January, we had 32 runs. 24 of them were emergency medical service calls, 2 motor vehicle accidents, propane leak, 2 fire alarm activations, 1 structure fire, 1 assisting the police, and 1 hazardous condition. When we were asked to kind of start gathering some statistics regarding the ambulance issue and availability of Mohawk, and trying to give you some stats for January. That we had with the calls that requiring an ambulance, there were 28 of those runs. Mohawk was able to respond 19 of those runs. Grafton Ambulance covered 8, and North Greenbush covered 1 of those. So that's kind of give you some of the stats of what's going on with the ambulance. With regard to the ambulance with the emergency medical service meeting that is taking place on February 20th at the firehouse. The meeting is taking place there because the firehouse is essentially a located meeting place. Has nothing to do with basing an emergency medical service at Poestenkill. It's just a central meeting place. And we're able, agencies from north, south, east, and west can come in and attend and hear what Dr. Hayachi and his committees have gone through with the past year of studies and gathering statistics and what plans they are proposing, and give some options for different townships and different agencies. And that's what's going to be presented on the 20th. One of the things we looked at when we did have 1 structure fire. We did have a rather nasty fire. Couldn't have occurred at a worse time. It was on the 28th of January up on the top of the mountain while it was snowing at night, which just put a few more things in the way. And unfortunately, it was a good sized garage that went up, and it was destroyed by the fire. One of the things that we came across was we're going to be working with Highway Superintendent with DJ is our lack of water system up there. Over the years, the dry hydrants, there's been some issues with filling in of the cisterns, things of this nature. Recovery rates have been coming slower and slower. And now combine that with the low water that we've had over the past fall and the lack of running of the Poestenkill Creek resulted in a real water issue that we had up there trying to find a viable water source. Between the lack of water, the cisterns themselves, and also the fact of all the ice we have, which kind of inhibited, we believe, one of our water sources up there. It was just a recipe for disaster up there. So we're going to be working diligently with the town, with building, with Highway, with DJ, and see what we can do about getting these dry hydrants back up and going, getting some maintenance done onto them, getting them cleared out, and be able to bring back some water sources. Also look at exploring what other avenues do we have for potential water sources up on the mountain. I'm going to ask, now that we're officially going into our heavier snowy season, for people to watch out for their hydrants when they're plowing snow. Please don't plow in the hydrants. We greatly appreciate that. There has been issues around where plows have inadvertently hit hydrants and causing considerable damage to those hydrants. Fortunately, we've been pretty good in this town, but please be wary of those hydrants so when you're clearing, you don't damage the hydrants themselves. And if you could clear around it, that would help out great. The markers on the top help us mark where those hydrants are in the deep snow. And sometimes the little extra time it takes to dig out a hydrant and get the ice away from it can be critical. So just kind of clearing around and be wary of the hydrants that are out there and try not to block them in. We really greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you very much for the print, sir. So we can see that. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. Library, please. Susan, thank you very much.
Susan Mullen Caliphate, Library Board of Trustees. This information is reflective from January 25th. So anything that has happened subsequent to that, before Councilman Wilbur asks me trick questions. I hope it's all right. Programming highlights, pre-K and elementary. Miss Sherry had a nice crowd every Friday morning for Storytown at 10:15. Teen programming highlights, 12 teens and tweens came out to make winter jar lanterns on January 18th. The adult programming highlights, Diamond Art continues to draw a crowd every month. We had 16 attendees in January, which if you think about the weather we've had, that's a lot of people. Coming attractions, Tuesday, February 18th from 3 to 6. Afternoon building block party. Blocks of all types available for free play in the library. Wednesday, February 19th, 3 o'clock. Make your own sushi candles. Sushi candles? You should go and check it out and find out what that means. Thursday, February 20th from 3 to 6. Play-Doh play date. A lot of alliteration. Wednesday, February 26th from 5 to 7, there will be a summer camp fair. And I believe, if I understood at the last library board meeting, various camps have been invited in so that people can come and get information for the summer programming. Additional announcements, the library will be closed on Monday, February 17th in honor of President's Day. We will have a new service available in the coming weeks for all Poestenkill library card holders. We are adding Freegal music to our digital offerings. It's an ad-free music streaming service. Patrons will be able to download the app, connect their library card, and stream up to 12 hours of music per day, and download 3 MP3 files per week, which they can keep in their personal library forever. Watch our website and social media for more updates on that. The addition of this service was made possible by special legislative grant funding from Assembly Member Scott Benda. And there's a reminder that unlimited access to the New York Times online is available to cardholders through the library website.
Thank you very much, Susan.
You're quite welcome to come.
Okay, next, youth advisory. I was given a report tonight. The youth director met with Mr. Supervisor Clements from Sand Lake, myself, and another member to discuss this pricing for the 2025 summer camp. It was decided that the cost of the camp would be $195 per child for 1 week, which is a $10 increase from last year. Kara is also working with Haver Park School District, trying to figure out space for the campers. As the schools are still under construction, it will be at Algonquin. There's some back and forth between Dr. Franchini, myself, and Stephen from Sand Lake. And as far as rooms go, and questions have gone back to him to try and get a little more space. And CAR is also finalizing field trips, and registration will be available as of March 1st. There have been some people thinking that the registration will be available before that, and it will be available on March 1st. Thank you. Next item up is the Conservation Advisory Committee. Greg, please. Thank you very much.
Greg Hadlow, Conservation Advisory Council. Good evening, Supervisor Russell and town board members. The CAC did meet on January the 27th. We discussed the recommendations in the draft comprehensive plan that relate to the CAC's mission. This is just to give them an idea, just to share stuff with the CAC. We just bounced around what those draft recommendations look like at this point. We also discussed the CAC tasks that are spelled out in Town Code Chapter 16-5. We included that some of the tasks in there may be outdated. For instance, the creation of pamphlets. There's so much material available online that let's make it be something that's really not necessary. And clearly some are still fresh, like creating the resource, the natural resource inventory maps. So we may make a proposal as far as what we think doesn't need to be done anymore. Present that to the town board, or at the very least, just get your concurrence here if you agree. For instance, there's a requirement in there for a recycling review. Seems to us that, with 2 commercial carriers in town picking up recycling plus residents' abilities to bring it to the waste management transfer station, that's kind of taken care of. But anyway, that will be your call. And lastly, we discussed conceptually, again, since our charge is open space, whether there should be a specific zone for open space in the code, what that would look like, what other towns have done. So we just kind of kicked that around as well. So those were the 3 things we looked at.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well,
Appreciate it, Frank. Thank you. Okay, first item up under discussion items is formation of a core committee to oversee construction of Water District Number 2, to interact with LaBerge and provide updates and make recommendations to town board, perform construction oversight, and provide periodic reports to WD Number 2 residents.
You want me to?
Please, Frank.
I just was, we've got Water District 2, we're committing $5.5 million. It's a huge project. And I think we should have it organized. I don't really want to put everything on Tom to manage that project or other board members. And I think we should open it up a little bit or a lot to put together. And I'm just floating this right now. If it's something that we want to proceed with, I can put together with some help a plan. But I just think we should get together some of the key people involved, maybe the CEO, the board district manager, and just to oversee the project, to understand what LaBerge is doing, to understand where the construction is when it happens, so that we're not sitting here a year and a half from now having spent $3 million and wonder where it is. And have that group report to the board and to the people of the district who are affected. Just, I just think that would be a useful committee to have, as it is such a big project and it's over a small period of time. It's a year and a half or whatever it is. I just think there's just so much, I wasn't involved in the Water District 1, but there's still like reverberations of who did what and who didn't watch this and what contractor did that. I think we should just try to do what we can up front to avert all of that from happening. And I thought including, like I said, just some key stakeholders, and they're not going to be making decisions, but they're just going to be making the recommendations to the, just keeping the board apprised of what's going on and the people apprised of what's going on. That's really it. That's as far as I got.
That's quite a bit, Frank. Thank you very much. Any other comments by the board?
There was a committee for Water District 1, wasn't there, Lou? Weren't you on it? Was there a kind of a committee back then? Or not? I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, I was on the,
that morphed into the
writing, not on the committee itself.
But there was a committee amongst the build up of District 1. I think that's what I was told.
Yeah, but
You weren't.
that's why we're in the trouble we're in. And that's what I was gonna say. You talk about doing this work with the committee, now, the way I'm reading this is overseeing the actual construction.
No.
Committee overseeing. the actual construction?
I wrote that in my email and Tom put it in here. We're not gonna, it's not that. We just want to make sure what's going on is what the town wants to go on. You know, that the project is
Okay, 'cause the way I
progressing.
read this,
Yeah,
this discussion A is, a committee's gonna oversee the construction.
Yeah,
And-
that's
You
my,
gotta hire somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. That's
and,
why this water system's the way it is now. Because they hired somebody to do it and they never did their job.
yeah, Lou, I agree with what you're saying, and I don't think I meant oversee, but we gotta get somebody. I'm a professional engineer, but I know nothing about water systems except for what Chuck just told me tonight. So, I know it's HDPE, but, there are people out there who know this. We have an engineering firm that's here, we can, but I'd like it somebody on the town side, not on the Burgess side, not anything against the Burge, but just saying, I'd like to have our own in-depth
Like
knowledge
a clerk of the
about.
works
Exactly,
overseeing.
yeah.
And you gotta, like I said, you gotta hire a professional
And
to do
there,
that, that's done water districts.
there are people actually, just saying, there are people in the town who have done water districts, construction, which would make this look like a small thing. And I thought we could tap into that. That would be a professional thing, but I would rather pay somebody, somebody up front now, a small amount, to make sure the project's run correctly, than try and dig it out of a hole in 2 years. So I agree with you, and I'll probably,
And I
I'll
think
find
whoever
you.
you hire should be bonded.
Then we'll have to just figure that all out.
What's the role in,
Should have been bonded.
we built Water District 1, we didn't have a water district, so what's the role of the new water district manager when we arguably probably have some of that talent,
Yeah, I think we
right? That would be part of the new water district, the water manager's responsibilities. Or, I'm not
I
saying.
imagine at the end of the day, it's gonna be right.
I don't disagree with that. I think having somebody that's also potentially independent too is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is just having maybe that committee review Water District 1, and if there's any changes or things that need to be adjusted in Water District 2. Yeah, thought too, right?
Absolutely. And if there's any chance of making the district, any changes that have been discussed as far as where it actually goes to, that could go through that committee too, outside of that process, and see if we can make something work. So I see it, I have 2 volunteers. I have Eric and Lou.
Yeah, right. I know how to hook up my garden hose.
The other thought that I had, sorry, Tom, I don't want to interrupt you, was just that, and I'm not looking to change anything, but in the sense of, what are they called, water units, benefit units, right?
Benefit units.
Benefit units, so in the sense of that, there's probably only one apartment complex in there, but like, I don't know if that was something that we looked at yet or not. And again, I'm not looking to change benefit units, I was just wondering, I was thinking, even with the highway drive-ins and all those things, I don't remember how we got to benefit units initially. I'm not saying we need to look at them, it's just a review of, right?
It's in the water law.
Right, well, I think that's something that a committee could look at too, is make sure, are they right, is it right, especially when you're dealing with like the 1 or 2 businesses in there, and then apartments as well. The last one I was told was all folks who were in the Water District 1 who were on that committee. So I don't know if you want to do it where you try to get folks that were obviously going to be in Water District 2.
Yeah, I'm open to composition.
We put something on the website.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Frank. Thank you. June, Eric, thank you very much for your contributions. We are going to be putting something together in order to shepherd this through properly and avoid some of the problems that did occur in Water District Number 1. We don't need a repeat performance there. And we're going to do our damnedest to avoid those. Okay, I'm sorry, Lou, was there anything else that you wanted to say?
No.
Thank you, sir. Okay, item number B under discussion items is installation of a street light across from number 8 James Street to provide lighting service by National Grid to give light to that area. The gentleman at number 8 came forward and asked that the light put on the street. That James Street is very dark, and he has a situation with his son, and his son has a situation where if he got out of the house at night, he could be a flight risk. And father is just looking for additional light to help see the son if he does get out. And I went around to the various homes on James Street and those on Main Street with their back to James, looking for feedback and opinion of the neighbors if a light was installed. And I did not meet any opposition. There were a few neighbors who were well aware of the situation, and at number 8, and were mostly in favor of the street light going through. National Grid would be able to be put up, and it would be just added to our streetlight inventory, and it would cost about $100 a year for the power to that light, is what I'm told by National Grid. So that was the reason for that. Comments on the board? Okay, next item is standard workday and reporting. In this case, it's for Chuck Golden for the New York State Local Retirement System retirement. We have done a couple previously, and actually 2 cases in 2024. With that going through, we have the resolution and the information, and we have distributed Chuck's hours, which more than qualify him for that. Comments from the board in reference to that?
The standard work hour isn't correct, right? It's not a 7-hour work day.
It's based on his part-time and the adding up of his hours, and that's what we plugged into Neisler's, and that's what we got.
It wasn't supposed to be installed there, but doing the GPSing, it turned out to be.
Yeah, but that's just the way we've always done this in the past. It's based off standard hours, but that would make it a full-time employee position, right? So it's that the idea is that a 7-hour. So in the past, when someone from the planning board, let's say, usually gets it, and I just something that we might want to look back into is it comes out to be 1.5 standard hours, right? Because they're meeting once a month, right? So he's part-time, right? So that would indicate to me that it should be around the 3.5 or some other case, because this makes it look like he's a full-time.
But based on what his hours are, that's what it's coming out to be. His submission of his time.
And again, as he had said, putting this GIS system in place took a long time and many long hours. And that's what was reflected in the report that Chuck did submit.
Yeah, no, that's true. I did 302 hours, of which our cap was 87, right? So that was a one-time project that we worked on, right? It doesn't go to his normal work, his normal job responsibilities. So that's fine. I'm willing to let that even be in there, but that doesn't make it a full-time 7-hour a day standard day position when he's a part-time employee. So I don't know. I think it's something we need to relook at because I think it's inaccurate.
I was
was told to write down my hours in 15-minute increments for a 3-month period, and that's what I did.
Yeah, I saw that. And then Katie was gracious enough to plug it in to the formula from New York State local retirement system, and those are the number, that is the number that came back to her.
Right.
What was, the position in the, organizational meeting? What did we lay out his position in that? In terms of hours, because we must have done something, right? Pay scale and hours.
Pay scale is listed, but I don't believe it listed hours.
I was told 2 to 3 hours a day, which you can't get anything done in 2 to 3 hours a day. This is a full-time job.
But it's not a full-time job.
If you want to do it right,
And-
it is. If
Excuse me?
you want to do it right, it is. I
Based
consider
on,
myself pretty good at time management. I can't do this job in half a day. Not the way it should be done.
all right, that's fine, but it's not a full-time position. And it's not a full-time position based on your own reporting of your own hours. So therefore, we can't make it appear to be a full-time position. That's, or whether it's just some sort of mistake,
I don't
that's
see-
not accurate.
There is no appearance. Those are the hours I work.
Right, you work,
Why are you
Three-
concerned about appearance?
I want it to be right, that's all. And it says it
Those are the
right.
hours I work.
So you work 302 hours over a 12-week span, which comes out to 25 hours a week. Right? And now, if you take out the project the RCAP project, it's more about 17 hours a week.
I'm still here 4 hours a day.
So you're reporting that or not?
No, I'm not reporting.
So you didn't report it in the
I
fact sheet?
reported it on when I was told to report it from what they do, September to December,
October, December, yeah.
October to December, yeah. Yeah. Days that I wasn't doing the stuff with the GISing, I was doing antennas and it was a 4-hour day.
Right.
And I still leave there, and there's still stuff I need to get there.
Which is about 25 hours a week. But to my point is, that's not a full-time position. It should reflect in that it's a full-time position as a 7 standard hour a day job. That's all. It's pretty.
But for retirement, is the retirement people gonna say, was that a full-time position or is that a part-time position? They just want the hours reported. They don't care about that.
Well, I don't think that's accurate. I think that we should be accurate when we, as a town board, when we file a piece of paper with the state of New York, it ought to be accurate. And this
It
isn't accurate.
is accurate based on the hours.
7 hour, it isn't accurate. It's a
not.
part-time job where he works 25 hours a week. You
doesn't
can't sit here and
matter
say
what
it's
the
a
job.
7 hour a day job, because it's not.
Okay,
It's simple math. Right?
I'm just thinking in terms of budget. Did we budget for 7 hours a day in our budget for the water manager? And do we need to? Because we have to.
it's something we have to look, going forward, we're gonna have to look at going to a greater budget for water
So
manager.
the budgeted amount for 2025 for the water manager is not enough.
As we progress through the system, yes.
I wouldn't,
So we will go over budget in terms of salary.
We haven't gone over, no, we're not going
No,
over.
we would if we
It
continue.
would be if I was paid hourly, but I'm not, I'm salaried.
Okay,
What's
that's my concern is
The
just that.
the most logical thing, Dave, when I did this was, you figured out what you did for 3 months. What do you do next? You look at what your salary is, you look at a check, you divide it up.
Right.
It's around 14 bucks an hour I was working for in those 3 months.
Less than minimum wage.
Right, less than the minimum wage.
I'll pay.
The person at Starbucks that's making the coffee with what I'm giving them,
Oh, no.
water, is making more money. And I can sicken the whole town. if I don't do it.
Okay, I was just not really addressing what Eric was saying. I was just thinking if these things didn't really match with our budget, or we could go over
No, it
budget.
doesn't, so,
The
But it
organizational
doesn't-
I get 14 bucks.
What's
water
that?
manager is 26,700.
So it's a salary position, so the hours don't matter. Okay.
But they matter for the state retirement.
Does it matter? Like, how does it? So, but isn't it really just the money that matters? Or it's, a combination of
The
both.
state retirement system wants accumulation of the hours. I just had to deal with it, so it's an hour reporting. It doesn't matter about the money. Does not,
It doesn't matter whether the position was full-time, part-time,
does not.
doesn't matter.
Okay,
So the hours are accurate as reported.
I'm good with it.
Thank you, Chuck. Okay. Next. Okay, next item up on the, next item up on the discussion item is fee revision. We had talked about this before, and I put this proposal back out for review by the board and comments. These are numbers that initially we had agreed with, and just trying to move towards getting these put in. I know we have to have a public hearing session before this can be formally voted on, but just looking for feedback, comments by the board on the fees that are there.
And these initially came from the planning board and zoning board. It was their input that brought these fee revisions about.
Yes.
Is there a reason for them? Maybe, like, for the increases?
They were too low.
Or
Didn't we have a long discussion about this and compare it to other towns? And we sort of all mutually agreed on these fees. Are these pretty much the same?
It's all the same.
It's all the same, okay.
Ian, any comments on this? Okay. All right, the next step then is we have to have a public hearing.
Correct.
Okay. So I'd like to schedule a public hearing for our March 13th meeting. Thank you. Okay, next item up, okay, town financial discussion. And I just asked that any comments, et cetera, be directed at me and me only. We are trying to move forward. We had a very productive meeting or session today regarding QuickBooks and Diane loading in the 2025 budget for that. Katie has been loading information in since last year for all of 2024 and through the end of January for 2025. Everything has been put into the QuickBooks system as far as expenses goes, and that we are moving forward in that respect. There was questions.
Dave and I met with Betsy and had listed a number of questions that I sent to all the town board members. There's 28 questions that have come about, and a lot of it does have to do with the QuickBooks and the entries and some of the transactions that are being made. I can read them out if.
Could we go through them one by one?
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question before we start?
Yeah.
These are questions Betsy doesn't know the answer to?
These are, Betsy was in the meeting with us that she had questions about. Yes, that's how.
She is our town bookkeeper.
Yes.
Okay.
Why are there 19 bank accounts still in existence? Why are accounts still going?
Wait, it's one at a time.
That is one.
Oh, it was one at a time, sorry.
Why are accounts still going negative? Where are water district number 2 transactions being recorded? It's not been set up in QuickBooks. The William.
Wait. Why are there 19 bank accounts?
Oh, do you
Why do
want
we
to
do?
comment?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought I was just reading. You want to?
Elaborate on each question, yes,
Okay,
please,
okay.
if you don't mind.
Yes, okay. I have talked with Dave in Sickaway about reducing the bank accounts. There are 3 accounts that are inactive right now that we're looking to remove. Just want to retain history on prior history, prior years on those accounts. There are accounts needed, separate accounts needed for water, Water 1, Water 2, highway, youth, general fund, and there are savings accounts that are associated with those, checking accounts that, associated with those. We are looking at trying to see what else we can do to pare it down, but just trying to prevent commingling of funds and having funds isolated so we know what each department has and to fund it accordingly.
And that's by law, that they need to be separate.
Yeah, but that's not completely correct. We have the accounts because when you and I met with the bank to get interest on our accounts, the plan was to close the accounts that earn no interest. And that didn't happen. And that's over a year ago. And makes it extremely difficult, if not impossible, for anybody to reconcile bank statements from those 19 bank statements each month. I do 2 at work, and that's enough. So why do we still have these accounts? It should have been done a year ago.
Well, some of them need to be done. You can't have water district and general fund.
I'm not talking about the water district. We had all of our accounts last year earn no interest. So we talked to the bank and they agreed originally to give us 4.5% interest on savings accounts, nothing on checking account. And we were going to transfer money as needed from savings into checking to pay bills like everybody does. And then the banker told Tom, sorry, I made a mistake, it's 3.5%. So it became 3.5%. We were going to move the money from our non-interest bearing savings accounts into the new accounts and then zero out the old accounts and close them. That never happened.
What's the source of those accounts, though, the savings? Where's the money coming from?
It's from historical savings that we had for years. They were open accounts for years.
Are those accounts that were non-interest bearing?
None of them are interest bearing.
Okay, so we've moved to the interest bearing accounts.
And did not close the non-interest
So
bearing.
they're at a zero balance?
Well, there's scraps. Some are, some aren't.
I mean, so basically, that's just the next step, is just to close those accounts.
You can talk to the bank and tell them we want to close these accounts. They'll transfer the money to the account that you want it to, give you all the reports about what's done, and then close the empty accounts.
But we'll still have, it sounds like 6 accounts times checking and savings, so it's still gonna be 12 accounts, right?
Well, it'll be more than necessary, I think. There
Well, I
are
mean, whatever's
certain
legally
things are
necessary.
required.
Highway has to be separate, the water district can have a second water district now,
Right.
general fund. And when were these accounts open?
When we switched banks, probably 10 years ago.
Okay, and it's becoming an issue now?
Well, it's impossible for someone to reconcile 19 accounts every month.
Okay, I'm just curious why it's becoming an issue after 10 years.
And we have these orphan accounts with very, very little money.
Well, if there are different accounts, they should be easy to reconcile. They should be zero, you know?
No, it is my fault that I have not been more forceful on closing down some of those accounts. It's my fault.
Do we have a goal of the number of accounts we want to be to? We have highway, water 1 and 2, savings, checking, and general, that's 6.
Okay. Water 1 and 2 savings, water 1 and 2 checking. Okay. Highway, general account, accounts payable, youth account.
Is there a water 1 and 2 checking and savings now? I don't think so.
Well, okay, water, there's water.
No. We just have water 1 and there's one that's water 2. But there's no savings and checking separate.
For water 1, there is a separate savings account.
There is?
Yeah, because.
And checking account.
And the checking account, because there's no checking, there's no interest.
Do you see that in your sheet?
There is a water one that's got 128,000 in it. But from this, you can't know which is checking, which is savings.
But are there two water ones on there? One, I didn't recall seeing that.
You have, well, we can, escrow drainage district has 0. There's 3 accounts that have 0. Simple checking for business, the 612 account, that was originally a highway account. That has 0. And then there's a savings account that has 0. But then there's a disbursement account, a water district 1, a payroll, money market. Town clerk has 2, youth has 1. M&T tailored business checking, that's a little bit in there. Escrow drainage district. And then there's another water 1, highway, general fund, ARPA fund, another savings that has a lot in there. DJ's CHIPS money, and then there's money that was not allocated that is CHIPS money that should be transferred, and then the monument fund. So there's a lot.
I guess my main point is that this is the kind of thing that should have been cleaned up a year ago, and it's not. And we've been bugging you for fixing the books for a solid year at every board meeting, and it hasn't happened. I'll let June continue.
Water District 2 transactions are not being recorded because it wasn't set up in QuickBooks. Williamson Trust transactions for Water District 2 not being recorded in QuickBooks. What M&T account is for Water District 2 are all bank accounts visible on the online system.
June, real quick on the Water District 2, is that the money sitting in there, like the grant money, is that the money we haven't taxed anything yet?
So Williamson Trust transactions, there's a chunk of money
From the state.
that's in there, and then there's Water District 2 is not labeled, let's put it that way, for, I think
2055.
it's 2055. So that's only got $4,300 in it. The rest of it is in like the Williamson Trust.
All right, thank you.
Treasury. So how is LaBarge getting paid? We did see now that that came out of that account, the 2055, because that started out to be about $30,000. So I think that's
So we're paying out of
realized.
that and then ARPA money for the other work that they did.
Preliminary information notes that Water District 1 is not self-sufficient.
That's why we had to have rate increase.
Daily M&T data feed flags items for review and acceptance in QuickBooks. The data feeds are not being reviewed and acted upon a regular basis.
I look at M&T every single morning and throughout the day. Each account I go through.
Yeah, but what she's saying is that it's linked to QuickBooks. You're looking at the bank statement online, but that's not checking to see that it's synchronizing with QuickBooks.
There is a problem with M&T on 2 accounts, and they are looking into that as far as syncing up with QuickBooks. Dave is looking in, he's talked to his back office people, and I'm waiting to get a response back on that.
How long has that been a problem?
It was just brought to my, I realized it just a short time ago and asked about it.
Bank interest not being added on in QuickBooks.
That is my fault. I thought that was registering, but I've done making notes and submitting a report on that to try and to get that put into QuickBooks.
So you don't reconcile the bank statements with your accounting system every month when you get a bank statement? That's what's hard about having 19 accounts. You haven't been doing that this year, the whole year?
I've been going through.
So that the interest and possible fees are not being recorded into the accounting program each month. Is that correct?
There are no fees that are being charged.
And the interest is not being recorded in the bookkeeping system. So you don't really know how much money in the bookkeeping system we have earned in the bank from the interest.
I have a separate report on that,
A report that's not in QuickBooks.
That's not in QuickBooks, no, sir.
Well, that's not acceptable for a business. You have to have it in your accounting program.
That's why we don't have profit and loss. So monthly, quarterly. nothing.
Okay,
There's no documentation on bank transfers.
I've been told about that, and I've been doing transfers since going back in December, and I started going back to the beginning of the year and writing the transfers up.
Missing documentations for checks and expenses, January 24 to the present. I don't think that has gotten straightened out because there's just like way too many of them.
documentation meaning like invoices?
Yeah.
There's no invoices, but checks went out?
They couldn't be paired up.
No, there was invoices. What the question was, there was one or a couple of cases where the stub, replacement stubs, you could not find. We are still looking for them.
Couple cases? I thought you said there were like 52
There's a lot.
in 1 month.
But, okay, she initially came through with them, and I went through, and I found a large number and reported back to Betsy on that. She gave me a sheet, and I reported back.
For that month.
For January 2024.
And she hasn't even gotten to February yet then. And March and April. Okay, keep going.
Maybe Ian can help on this one. How is the town board going to handle the missing documentation? If they cannot be found, then it's probably our responsibility to have something in
I
writing.
don't understand, if, like a check was written, because we go through the bills every meeting and checks are written based off of those bills, correct?
Mhm.
So,
I've always seen bills with the thing that we sign.
oh, you mean because of the
I have.
the back, yeah, there's almost always,
Right.
But for
They're
some
saying
reason,
there's
in
checks
in the accounting system, there's no
It's not there.
documentation.
you're saying that they're not scanned in and
Yeah.
added into the accounting system, is that the issue?
Can I say
Everything
something?
is
I'd like to
scanned
speak because I think this is actually a question that's directed at me. Everything was entered in. If we have it, I entered it. If there's no documentation, it's because my predecessors did not file accurate paperwork going back to 2021.
Okay,
So 2024 is accurate. If it's not in there, it was not filed. Up until June 3rd is when I started.
okay.
Just
So
gonna,
really the question, back it up 5 years.
and the thing is, if that's the case, then there's a lot of things that need to get done.
Correct, and
it's
we're still working on it because it's
And-
5 years worth of work on top of
Yeah.
daily operations.
Yeah, but on multiple times we have suggested hiring outside help and it hasn't happened.
Well, I
We've
don't
been
make
doing
those
this- We've been
decisions.
doing this once a month, saying we need help, we need help, we
Yeah.
need help, and it hasn't gotten done.
I don't have that authority.
I didn't blame you, I wasn't talking to you. You haven't gotten anybody to help us. It's been a year.
Well, I think it's been more than a year.
It's
Yeah,
been a
it's-
year
no,
for
no,
this.
It's
for
certainly
you
only
more.
becoming an issue in the last 14 months.
Right.
Yeah, this issue is not a 1-year issue.
Wait. Please stop, okay, please stop. June,
And I think we knew that and had commented on that in the past. But it's.
I think people need to start taking responsibility, and this seems to be an ambush.
no,
No,
it's
no,
not,
no,
it's
no.
not, it's not.
No, sounds like it.
Sounds like it. This is really bad.
No, it's just that we
Disgraceful.
need answers.
These are perhaps questions that the people who were on the board before the last,
Because it's our responsibility
should have
as
asked
town
them.
board members to oversee all the payments.
But you're
So-
saying that this has been going, that these have
Wait,
been
wait,
in
wait.
account for 10 years. So
I'm not
there are
saying 10
people on the
years,
board
but
who
it
have
has
been
gone
there.
back.
No,
to
wait,
21.
time, please, okay? No, please,
It's an
please, please.
It's not an ambush.
It's not.
Our obligation is to
realistically-
protect the money for the people who live in this town.
So why didn't you do
That's
it
what we're
before
doing.
January
Wait, time out.
2024?
Time out,
Yeah.
please, no comments from the floor, please. I respectfully ask, no comments from the floor, please.
Might I just look at one of these things for a second? Like, I look at this, I'm just gonna say,
Could you speak up a little bit, please?
sure, sorry.
Thank you.
Why doesn't, if we're having trouble with reconciling the books, just get together and work on it and actually do the job, as opposed, I think there was a lot of work that needed to be done.
There's a amount of work
And so I'm not as concerned about 3 accounts being closed, because I think that's trivial. But I do think we just have to work together to try and knock these things out as a town board. I don't think,
Well, UHY is working on it right now,
She's got background, thank you, Dean.
and she's on 2022.
Well, and that's how the problem came up, because like now, the audits hadn't been done for 2022, 2023. We could lose like the state funding.
Mhm.
It's gonna affect like the highway for their funding for the CHIPS money, Water District 2.
CHIPS money did come in. I missed that, that came in, I thought it was something else, and I apologize to DJ today for not catching it earlier. It came in the end of December, and he has his CHIPS money for 2025.
Which is fine, and that can get transferred and it'll be made whole. But our point was that when Betsy is trying to reconcile accounts, and yes, it does go back, that even youth there was mistakes made that was getting labeled as scrap. How that youth happened.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
Right.
Because it's
So-
me trying to go back and figure out, is it really scrap? What really is this? And there's no documentation. Today I learned that, I'm sorry, Tom, but I'm gonna speak. The reason why there's such huge negatives in QuickBooks is because my predecessors made mistakes doing the deposits. They swapped them, they reversed them. So if it said depositing into accounts payable coming from the town clerk, it went into the town clerk, paid by accounts payable. So that's why everything is skewed. That goes back years.
that's like credit and debit. on
Yep,
journal
and it's
entry.
all messed up.
And again, it's not an attack. I know it goes back years, and that's what we're finding, that, things hadn't been like done. The audits hadn't been done for 2022 and 2023. And I'm not sure, as like town board members that are supposed to be overseeing this, like what does happen? What is our responsibility? Because we were not made aware of this back from, it hasn't been right since Dominic was here. So you've had however many years.
Well, I think everybody needs to work together,
So,
take responsibility, and realize it's not an easy process. This isn't an easy fix. This wasn't created overnight. It's not going to be
No.
solved overnight.
and that's Betsy's problem, she's trying to go back and reconcile these 19 bank
I
accounts and
understand,
everything.
but I think people are, exercising due diligence and really trying to solve a mess that's been created over a number of years. And I think it's unrealistic and unfair to think it's just going to be snap your fingers and it's fixed.
That's not what I was saying at all.
Yeah.
I don't know, I've been here in meetings and that is
I'm saying that
actually the
we-
accusation
we-
coming from the table.
Time,
No.
please,
Full
please,
year
no, please,
to get this better, and it doesn't look like it's getting better.
No, I understand that, but I think everybody who's on those boards also needs to take responsibility, because where were these questions being asked then?
Well, as we found out last year before Tom took office, is that a previous employee did not make payments to to the federal government for income tax withholding
Correct.
and shredded any notices that came in from the government, so
Certainly.
nobody saw it.
Absolutely. And that,
There's no way that we could know about it.
right, and you have to understand that's what Tom and Katie are dealing with and trying to
And
resolve this. And it's not a simple solution. And I'm sorry, Tom, I think this is unfair.
Let me know,
And I
Ian,
think
please,
you're taking too
please,
much
wait a minute.
responsibility. for this.
Ian, no, it is my responsibility.
Tom, I got a question.
Hold on, no, we're not doing that.
But no,
We're not doing
please,
that. We're not doing that. This is the board.
please, guys, okay? June, please continue.
I can stop there because all we're trying to do is help Betsy get through this. And there was questions that needed to be answered. I'm not trying to point fingers. I'm not doing anything. We know that it goes back ages. The last time that we had any profit and loss statements on a monthly or quarterly basis goes back to Dominic and when Michelle was here. That's the last time we saw him. I had asked and asked and asked when Keith and Tiffany were here and doing it, and we got nothing. So we understand that it's not your fault that it goes back further than this. And I don't want you to think like that I am pointing fingers and making accusations. That's not the role here. There was like questions that just needed to be answered about how we were going to handle it moving
Right,
forward.
I think the questions have been, I think Tom has answered those questions to the best of his ability. I think, you've gone through a list of 28 things and you just ask questions, and I don't think everybody wants to be here at midnight, but if we're going to ask the questions, I think we should allow Tom the opportunity to address the questions and provide an answer, which he's done. He's working with Katie. If you want to ask the questions, then allow him to make him the answer.
Well, the question that we've asked at pretty much every board meeting, whether it was in public session or executive session, is can we get outside help, like an accounting firm, to come in here and do like a SEAL team to come in and fix it? Maybe it takes a month. Do we have the budget for it?
Well, that's the question. The
We've
budget
been
is
talking
very
about
much.
this for a solid year and nothing has happened.
That's why we have UHY.
So what is UHI?
UHY is an accounting firm. Nicole, she's going through the 2022. She did some work. She had to apparently go back to 2021, do some work, and she's working 22 and 20, and then into 23 to try and clear those
So-
up and move forward in order to be able to put a annual financial report for those to 2022 and 2023 into the state.
So
But
the-
that's for the audits though and everything. What's
Yes.
going to happen to QuickBooks?
Okay, QuickBooks, we had a three plus hour session today. We're loading in information. Situations were pointed out. We have an additional session coming next Tuesday, I believe, in order to continue loading information and make the corrections to get QuickBooks into a very workable situation. That's what's going on. We brought, this
But I
lady-
have to work about the budget lines. The budget lines in QuickBooks actually don't match our budget that we submitted to the state. So that means we have to go through there and fix and match up all those budget lines additionally.
So that's what's going on right now.
So nothing matches.
So is that part of the problem with GTM then too? Because like the wrong amounts for salaries were.
That was, we don't know what happened there. They did a deep dive. It's fixed. And it was that number in there, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. When the checks run next week, it will be next week, the monthly check will be, I'll just make sure that it comes out accurate. We don't know what happened.
Because it almost seems like that Betsy was thinking that, remember when we had before the organizational meeting, it was listed as the board getting 2%. So
yeah.
it looks like those checks are still going on that and hadn't been adjusted to no wage increase.
So that was changed. That was in a very short period of time. That's what did happen. And they had to input, they readjusted that.
And so then they'll probably correct it on the next.
Yes, it is corrected. I went in and looked. Jen, who is our consultant with GTM, went in and looked, and it's what it's supposed to be. But when I run the checks on Tuesday, I'll do a double check.
And I don't know how we're gonna find this out either, but the drainage districts, and I had asked Steph about this for, planning board, if she had any documentations. The drainage districts should have been tracked for each development. And so you don't know how much is supposed to be in any of those either. The site locations should be updated and maintained.
I don't even know anything about
The
that.
drainage district, yeah.
That information, Beth, you pull out and review it. I'm going through each line. From that.
There was also a question about the credit card statement. We weren't even aware that the Historical Society had a credit card and how they're reconciling.
The credit card that the Historical Society has is their own credit card. It was not issued by the town. It's a Key Bank credit card, and that they use that for their own purposes and supply the funds for that, for their own purposes.
Okay. And then how are we reconciling our credit card statement? Because that was supposed to be like handled by two different people. One was overseeing the account, couldn't reconcile.
I have no experience with the credit card.
That I've been working through and going through, looking, verifying each purchase, matching up each receipt every day.
That paperwork is upstairs on my desk.
Yeah, but because you're handling the finances, I didn't think whatever we had submitted to the state when they came in and did that audit, that it was supposed to be two different people.
That's what I had to determine.
Which is why Katie was gonna be an independent contractor, so to speak. So that she could,
I will pass that along to her. I will pass that along.
so has UHY given you any updates for the audit?
They have, she's working through it. She sent it back late tonight, and I'll pass that along to each, print it down and pass it along to each of you.
And what audit is this?
I'm sorry.
What audit is this
It goes back to 22 and 23.
for overall
The financial-
financials?
The overall financial audit, because if you don't have those, then that's what we're saying about losing funding.
She had done some work, and she had to go back into 2021 and do some corrections, and she had a conversation with Betsy on that, and then moving forward on the, into 22. But I will get the sheet down, print it down, and get that message out to you. But she was going through it and working through the back history, and trying to move forward with that.
So from here on out, you think we can get regular updates then from Betsy and UHY?
Yes, I will put a note out for Nicole at UHY to give us, she has that one report, and she has that one letter, or whatever comment that she made. I'll pass that out, and I'll ask her that we meet something each month for each meeting.
And what about reports from QuickBooks for profit loss, that kind of thing?
We are correcting the situation with loading information in. Katie has been loading information in, and with the sessions that we're getting, we'll be able to bring QuickBooks into a workable fashion and have accurate information on that. And that's what we're working very diligently to do. Katie had a long session today, and we have another session scheduled for next Tuesday in order to continue through getting this information in, making corrections, and having viable information, accurate information.
What sessions are you talking about?
Training session,
Training?
well, correct. On the QuickBooks situation, showing us how to put in the budget and then realizing what situations, as Katie mentioned about the differences on the deposits, how they are put to correct, to go in and correct those such that the numbers will be shown accurately. Instead of having large negative balances, having them reflect.
And who's doing the training?
Diane Pollock,
And who's paying her?
I am.
What? What do you mean you're paying her? Out of your own pocket?
Yes, sir.
Shouldn't do that.
I'm doing it to get it done because I have been slow in picking up, and I want to get it corrected.
I don't think that's right.
Can I say one thing? This does feel like an ambush to me.
No,
Yeah,
no.
Hey, my comments, it's okay, move on. But what I don't understand, and no one has been able to answer, but I hope somebody can answer tonight. We do have a CPA that works for the town of Poestenkill, right? And the CPA is our bookkeeper. And I don't understand what our bookkeeper is doing to help with this.
She's doing a hell of a job. That's what she's doing. She's going through. She has helped us put the budget together for us. She came in, and then now she's been going through reconciliations. She's doing a hell of a job.
Well, we did hire someone to do bank reconciliations a few months ago, right? That didn't last very long, but it had been done 9 budgets in my time. We always had the bookkeeper here throughout the budget process. And this budget process, the bookkeeper came to the first meeting, and the bookkeeper said, didn't take any accountability, and the bookkeeper asked for a job description, so the bookkeeper understood what it was she was supposed to be doing. And I still don't understand what the bookkeeper does. This is a bookkeeper. Katie's doing a great job. You're doing a great job to try to fix this. I don't understand why we have a bookkeeper.
Okay.
The problem is that Betsy had originally been going to take over the audits. So now somebody else, UHY now is taking over the audits, and Betsy was supposed to do the reconciliations, bank reconciliations, and came across like all the problems that had been created from Keith onward. That had gone back any number of years to Tiffany and then Kara, who was here, and made incorrect entries. So all Betsy is trying to do now is straighten out everything, and is finding more and more that has been mislabeled.
Well, I agree. First of all, I'd like to talk about 24 and up until January of 25 and not go into the back. But, you said that our bookkeeper was doing audits, but now UHI is doing them, and that our bookkeeper was doing the bank reconciliations, but we hired somebody else to do that. Again, I don't know what the bookkeeper is doing on a day-to-day basis to be in charge of our accounts, to be in charge of our budgets, instead of this falling on Tom, almost, it seems to me, 100%, and Katie 100%. It's a management issue. You don't ask your, I won't try to make a silly analogy. That's the person who should be doing it, not 2 other people. If someone can explain to me how I'm wrong, I will stop saying that, but I don't understand.
Okay, Katie's doing her work, and that's helpful. Betsy is doing her work, carrying the load. She's doing reconciliations. She's coming up with questions that we have to answer, which is important and what her role is. But she's taking the time to go through everything. She communicates back and forth with this throughout the week. And I think she's doing a tremendous amount. And it's reconciliation work that she's doing right now. Previous to that, She worked, she came through as a miracle worker with the budget. And then after that, she has been working with conciliations and working with us to finalize up on the New York State local retirement system, which is important for all the employees. And she pulled us through that along with Katie and
If it wasn't for Betsy, we'd be in worse trouble than we already are.
forwards.
This goes back to why we need job descriptions.
Okay.
And the bookkeeper at that July meeting said, we need job descriptions.
I think if we're gonna make, like, I made a suggestion to make a committee for the water district. If you're making a suggestion for job descriptions, just start writing them.
I'm not gonna start writing job descriptions for every employee.
No, ask them. I'm just saying, spearhead it.
We should do when I set this town board and I've said in emails is, we should ask every department head to tell their employees and themselves to start drafting job descriptions. I'm not gonna go around chasing 34 people and try to get them to approve job descriptions. I don't know what.
I guess I'm not asking you.
I don't know what everybody in this town does.
I'm just saying, just spearhead it from the point of view of.
And we had talked about, I mean,
And
how
I'm not-
hard would that be to have like the individuals write up their own job descriptions? Because they know better than anybody what they do.
Right, but we just need to do it. That's all. And I'm not putting on that. I'm just saying, just like we just have to do it here.
And Tom and I have talked about this, and this is in no way an attack on Tom or Katie by myself or Dave or Betsy or anybody else. We're just trying to get to the bottom of everything that has gone askew in the last years and how we're gonna fix it moving forward. So I apologize to anybody if they took it the wrong way, because that was not my intention.
No, you do not owe me an apology, June. I'm honored that you offered. Thank you. Okay, so pick up some pieces and we'll keep moving forward. All right, if we can, any other comments, please? Okay. All right, can we move ahead on action item A, resolution 6-2025 for installation of a streetlight at 8 James Street. Resolution number 6. I lost it back there. Okay, a resolution authorizing the town supervisor to sign a letter of resolution to National Grid for a streetlight at 8 James, across from 8 James Street. Whereas the town has been approached by William O'Brien of 8 James Street requesting a streetlight be added to the pole across from his house to help locate his autistic son, who is a flight risk if he gets out of the house. And whereas the annual cost of the town for 25-watt LED light is $102 with no installation cost unless a problem is found with the existing pole. And whereas the wattage generates the least number of complaints of strong light shining in windows at night, now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign a letter of resolution to National Grid for a streetlight at 8 James Street upon approval as to form by this attorney to the town. Prepared and approved as to form by Ian Silverman. The foregoing resolution is offered by, I'll offer it.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Eric.
Councilman Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Brzez?
Yes.
Councilman Haas?
Yes.
Councilman Wallaber?
Yes.
Supervisor Russell?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Is that going on the north side of James Street or the south side?
It's gonna go on the south side. Okay, telephone poles should be on the south side, kind of diagonally across from number 8 James.
That's the side of water line.
Opposite
I didn't
side.
notice when they got that 8-foot post hole there.
It's opposite side.
Well, no, the pole's already up.
Pole's
Yeah, it's
The
opposite
pole's
side.
already there.
Yes, sir.
No problem. Thank you.
Oh, So.
Okay, we now move, okay, all right. Next item up, B is approved standard workday and reporting resolution 7-2025 for appointed official Chuck Golden. Resolution establishing a standard workday. Whereas the New York State and local employees retirement system requires that a standard workday be established for retirement credit purposes, and whereas in order to be in full compliance with regulation 315.4, legislative action is warranted. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Poestenkill does hereby establish the following as standard workdays for appointed officials, and will report the following standard workday to the New York State and local employees retirement system. Okay, anyone care to put, move on for going resolution? I'm sorry, I gotta read, excuse me. Not there. Okay, excuse me, guys. And be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be posted on the town's website pursuant to rules promulgated by the New York State Comptroller, and a copy shall be transmitted by the town clerk to the Rensselaer County Commissioner of Personnel and the State Comptroller. Prepared and approved as performed by Ian H. Silverman, Town Attorney. The foregoing resolution offered by, thank you, Frank. I'll second.
Councilwoman Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Brzez?
Yes.
Councilman Haas?
Yes.
Councilman Oliver?
No.
Supervisor Russell?
Yes, please. Okay, we now move to reports. All right, supervisor's report. Greg Patno has been gracious enough to work in getting information on broadband coverage in areas that being offered in town right now. We're trying to move forward on that. James Street, had the street light walk and listen to Mr. O'Brien. Went down to the IRS office in Albany for a long meeting, and then made several phone calls to the IRS regarding second quarter 2021, which they're looking at now. They did receive it on the 8th, which was a week ago Saturday. They did receive the letter and started the review process for that situation. I don't have an exact number right now, but they're working on it. Told me I should have an answer in like 30 days. The end of January, attended the Barberville Falls meeting at the Rensselaer County Emergency Offices. Representatives from the RPA were there, state police and county, to discuss what can be done to help minimize or prevent another drowning accident up there. Fire company was there and made their presentation. It was very helpful. Had the privilege of going to the fire company banquet. Thank you for your invitation. And then the next day we went to the Cub Scout Derby at the firehouse and for the small racers. Comprehensive plan meetings had attended, gathering information and trying to move forward with that. We're making slow progress, but it's being done. The library, attended the library and the fire company meetings. Youth summer camp meeting at Sand Lake where the pricing was set. Had the planning board meeting, met with Bill Bradley regarding the intermunicipal agreement. We have another meeting tomorrow morning with Mr. Bradley regarding the intermunicipal agreement on transportation of water. Hopefully we'll be able to come up with a final resolution, get that squared away and submitted and reported to the EFC. Ron LaBerge brought preliminary plans just to show us, give us a rough idea. Chuck was gracious enough to attend. More detailed plans will be available in 2 weeks that we could pass along to Wayne Boomstill and get a better idea. That's what I've been doing. Thank you. Ian, please.
Thank you, Tom. My Mine's not as detailed as yours. Unfortunately, most of what I do is privilege. I continue to work closely with the town supervisor on all legal matters involving the town. One of the things that I can report is that I'm working with the Rensselaer County Attorney in order for the town to be reimbursed for the demolition, which was done around Christmas time on Plank Road. Hopeful that the county legislature will take this up at their March meeting. So hopefully the town will be receiving some money in response to the demolition back in Christmas time. So a little bit of good news.
Thank you, Reed. Okay, town clerk's report.
During the month of January, the town clerk took in $16,161.33. Of that amount, $15,663.17 was turned over to the supervisor.
Thank you, Sue. Do I have a motion to accept the town clerk's report? Thank you, David. June seconded. All those in favor of the accepting the town clerk's report?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you. Okay, next item up we have is the report from Michelle Waite, our assessor. The assessor's office mailed all renewal exemption applications forms in December. These exemptions include senior disability, agricultural, nonprofit, and clergy exemptions. Joseph was on to say that the 2025 assessment roll exemption filing deadline is March 1. That's very important for all exemptions. Residents, please note this time frame and have the forms returned back. It's only about 2 weeks. And the assessor's office continues to routinely process new deeds and parcel split merger documents received from the county. We also continue to process exemption applications and close building permits. All other functions, including responding to resident inquiries and updating real property system, continue as normal. They have been very attentive to resident needs. Okay, the next item up, we have the water manager's report. Thank you, Chuck.
Water Department report for January 2025. Average usage per day, 118,038.8 gallons. We were up slightly from last month. 39.7 gallons of sodium hypochlorite were used to sanitize that amount of water, which is down from that one. The reason being water usage is higher and sanitizing agent is lower is just because of the temperature of the water. Cooler water, less organics, less chlorine needed. Monthly chloroform tests were all negative for the month of January. I had 0 dig safe locates, but I did receive a locate early in February for design, under the design category for test bores in the District 2 water district. So there is going to be some action out in the District 2 area to do some investigative digging and see where the rock outcroppings are and how bad they are. The field GPS work has stopped, and really with new evidence or new information, this isn't, but I'll read it anyways. Have temporarily suspended the field work for the GPS mapping, and Adam is shifting his team's focus on digitally building what will be located thus far. I was looking at it on the laptop earlier, and he's started to lay in some of the water mains. So that is getting completed. The totals came out currently is 556 curb stops, 295 valves, and 197 hydrants located. As I pointed out in the display, that this is going to centralize all field data, and we're going to field data that are compiled and all the maintenance needs all in one location in that program. I don't know, I put a note down that I was hoping to be able to get back out into the field. The weather doesn't sound like it's going to be cooperative, nor because of the federal funding, that they're starting to cut back, and we are kind of overspent on our project already. But he still expects to have at least 2 site visits, one for training, and the other just to go over a few things. For example, I was just noticing I've got, oddly enough, 2 number 13 hydrants. So we got to figure out what went wrong there. So we'll get those things resolved. I got back on antenna replacements, this month to get the old list completed as much as possible before another reading is done in March. Out of the 47 no reads from this last quarter's reading, 32 have been replaced. Carried over from last quarter of this period are 8 just that refuse to respond to any of the varied requests that I use to access them. If I have phone numbers, I call them. If I don't have phone numbers, I put Post-it notes in their doors, in their mailbox, anywhere that I think they will see it. And I have 8 holdovers that no matter what I've tried isn't working. So I'd like to put those addresses out on the web and say, please contact us. That's okay. I don't see why.
Right, what you want to do is just
Addresses.
Right, you want to publicize just the address, not the name.
Correct.
And just ask them.
Yep.
Board feelings on that?
You have to do what we gotta do.
Excuse me, Jim?
I said, yeah, you have to do it so somebody responds. To
Or
somebody to
mailing
get
them
taken
stuff?
care of.
Certified letter or registered?
Well, he would,
We could do certified letters. The cost is prohibitive in my eyes
I just don't see how
because they're
the-
not gonna go to the post office and pick it up.
They're not gonna probably read it off the website and contact us either. I think
No, what I expect to say, hey, Joe, Mr., Joe Smith, I saw your name and you need your antennas changed.
I just do a certified letter. That way you know that they've got it or that you got it.
I will do that when I have to shut an order off or something like that. Legally, I need to do a certified letter. Here, I was hoping just a little touch of public shaming at work, But-
I'm game for that.
Because it's frustrating, Frank, to go
No,
to
I
these
know.
people and
Trying
the
to,
food's on the table, the TV's on, and they're not answering the door. Dogs barking. Yeah. Let's see, where was I? Carried from last quarter was the 8. We have 13 antennas left in stock. That was dropped a little bit because I got a few more done. I have requested a quote for 75 more. I have not received that request back. And I came up with that number of 75 because it's half of the stock that we have. We have about 153 antennas out in the field that are 10 years or older. And they seem to be failing after 10 years. So we split the difference. Instead of getting 150, we got 75 more. Tom and I also talked with another vendor regarding the antennas and a different type of antenna to start District 2 and maybe backfit District 1 with. Did you mention that in your report, Tom?
No,
That we had met? So we did that too, and I have received an email back with that with a formalized quote, and I will send that to you, Tom.
Thank you, Chuck.
So I promote the Class C and D operator certification training. That's what you need to operate the water system is a Class C license. They offer the Class C and D license or operator certificate, what they call initial certification, and that's going to be held down in Maybrook, March 24th to 28th. And they only have 25 slots down there. I know 2 people from Brunswick that are going. He's sending 2 people. So, and that's all I have for the month of January.
Thank you very, very much, Chuck.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your presentation tonight, too.
Thanks for listening to it.
no slideshow? No slideshow?
No, we can pick that up and George and see what's going on.
Okay.
Okay, next item up, building inspector's report. Okay, all right, Tracy submitted his building inspector report, code enforcement report, and we have it here in our hands. And everything's listed there for a review. Next item up is the door control report. My van, I'm not getting to Bob prior to. I talked previously with him, but let's see, dogs running at large, he had 6 dog barking complaints, 3, animal neglect and cruelty 1, but no issue was found. Wildlife, 2 injured deer, 1 injured goose, and all wildlife calls are referred to environmental conservation. Next slide.
Sorry, excuse me. Is there is it Geyer who's gonna be doing the, rescue dogs, or is it the kennel? For Renslayer?
Okay, Bob picks up dogs and he has some, boarding facility at his home now, okay? The kennel would only get it if it's an extreme situation, and Bob was not able to accommodate that particular dog.
Okay. So it's not gonna be an overload of dogs up at Posting,
Not by Poestenkill.
and if there is, we'll be having some control over the barking, correct?
Please bring it to my attention again. I'd be more happy to make another phone call.
Certainly will.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, DJ submitted an excellent report on everything that they've been doing over there, and we're most appreciative of their efforts on Sundays, Saturday nights, Sunday nights. We've done a heck of a job getting those clean. Okay, next item up, we have is payment of the bills.
I move that we pay the, let's see, we have ARPA listed here separately. Should I move for that too?
Yes, sir, please.
ARPA bills of $18,409.53.
Make the motion that we pay the ARPA bill.
I'll second.
Thank you, Frank. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you.
I move that we pay the highway bills of $53,034.14.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
I move that we pay the water bills of $1,085.89.
I'll second. All those in favor of paying the water bill?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining?
And I move that we pay the general bills of $348,562.47.
I'll second.
All those in favor of paying the general bill?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you very much, one and all. Okay, public comment period?
I have a comment. I want to go back to addressing why you are paying for the QuickBooks. So I don't think that's appropriate. I think we all said that here. There has to be a resolution to that.
Because I was slow, I've been slow correcting the situation and I felt that.
But that's not your responsibility.
I know it's not my responsibility.
You're doing everything
Yeah.
you can. You shouldn't be doing that.
I-
Can you cite something legal to
Yeah,
stop?
legally, you
doing that?
shouldn't be doing that, Tom. You should have it, it should be going through the town.
Thank you.
So now we just got to see a line item that we can take that from. How much is that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't get any bills.
Okay, so find the line item.
You reimburse yourself.
Okay, want to come up with something?
And if you paid anything out to this point, you should be reimbursed by the town.
Yes.
It needs to be accounted for.
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, any other comments? Okay, Stephen, you had your hand up first.
Did I hear correctly that we don't have our accounts currently reconciled?
No.
No.
Is there a reason, and I'm gonna throw all the blame out, I don't care, just going from a business perspective and going through the budget process that we went through, which was horrific. Why haven't we just reconciled our accounts? Doesn't matter where it's allocated, doesn't matter if it's misallocated. When it goes into an account, comes out of an account, it can be reconciled. Very easy to do. You don't have to figure out where it came from right now. But to figure out what's in the account and reconcile and move on, we need to know what's actually in it, what checks have been written out of each account, and what is what account.
Okay, we do know what checks are written out of each account. They are very accurately
In QuickBooks?
entered. We're starting to put them in QuickBooks.
I guess this is where the blame comes in. That should have been done in October when we were promised as a town that would happen. We were promised in the beginning of October, we'll have a special meeting in October. So you say, we were promised, that should have been done. The allocation part, the misallocation, which accounts they're in, that doesn't matter. What does matter is that the actual bank reconciliation. Are we gonna do this again this year?
Now, so we're going through the bank reconciliations. All the information has been put in, every charge has been put into QuickBooks. Everything has been scanned in and put in from the 1st of January of 2024 right through to the end of January 2025. Has been scanned and entered into QuickBooks.
And reconcile?
No, when reconciliation is in the banks. And that's what the bank accounts, and that's what Betsy's going through now.
Okay, is there a timeline for it? Because in March of last year, we were told it was at most a month. And then October hit, and we had budget conversations, and I know we had to make some tough decisions, but that portion is very simple.
You're just talking the transactional.
Just the transactional reconciliation,
You have to have, I understand that, but it's still, you need to know where while you're doing it, we gotta do the transactions and make sure that the numbers.
But the history of this was misallocated, isn't really relevant to the bank reconciliations. That's just my suggestion, because that's a good place to start, it's easy to do.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Rule, please.
Yeah, Steve must have got it in my head. Back in September, when we started this budget thing, I stood up there and I said, this bookkeeping system here is broken. It's broken beyond repair. And we should get somebody in here professionally to fix it and take it up from there. And that was back in September. And I thought it was coming along. So obviously, we're in the same rut that we were in September. I don't, from listening to what's going on tonight, it doesn't seem like it got any better. I still think that you need to go out and hire somebody professionally, whether it be office manager, CPAs, accountants, forensic accountant, something's gotta be done. You guys up there are the caretakers of our money, and nothing's being done.
We have UHY accounting going through that.
And that's recent.
And that had just come online recently.
Do they estimate about a time period that they can rectify everything that's messed up?
She did not give me an estimate, no, not yet. But she is.
Are they working on it full time or just a part time thing?
She's working on it on a regular basis. I don't know how many hours she's put in. She has put in a lot of time. We've been sent bills for it, and that's what's going on. Betsy's doing her share, Katie's doing her share. But we have a professional accounting firm working through us now.
I don't know, from listening to you guys tonight, it don't seem like we got any better since September. And, to follow up on something, I remember about that time, maybe it was before that, Eric gave the town board a letter with 14 or 15 suggestions. And what you hit on tonight, a few of them suggestions are in his letter, like the bank accounts, getting rid of some of them, job descriptions, which you talked about tonight, which I think is very important. And seeing as we're losing our water manager, probably now's a good time to write up a job description for the new hire. At least get that one done. If somebody doesn't want to do 38 of them, get one of them done. Now's a good time to do it.
Thank you.
I think if we did ask just the employees to write up their own thing, and then we could review them and
I mean, even if they wrote up a paragraph or two paragraphs, it would be better than what we have right now.
We'll submit it and then, you know, the supervisor just kind of like. You know.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn. I'm sorry, I'll second it.
Okay, June made the motion, Eric seconded. All those in favor of adjournment?
Surprise.